You know, when it's 19 degrees, even in South Carolina, things get a little bit better with a fire. And having a good, strong fire, especially if you're outdoors. And I'm outdoors today trying to get some things done. And this is a great source for warmth, and it really keeps you going. But if you have wet conditions, rainy, windy conditions, building a fire can be a lot of trouble. And so we're going to take a look. I know I've been doing a series on fire lately, and I'm on fire for fire. The more ways you know how to create a fire, the better. And there are so many different ways, but if you don't have that knowledge, you're in trouble. Of course, one of the things that's really easy is to say, well, you know what, I've got lighters, I'm good. And, you know, if you've ever been camping and hiking, and many of you have, you know that that's just a fallacy. You know, having a good lighter is great, it's very convenient, but these don't always work. And if you don't have other ways to light, you're in trouble. So we're going to just take a look at some of the unusual ways, a little bit different, to start fires. And we're going to go through each one of these, and hopefully you might learn a little something to add to your fire kit. Now, one of the most important elements in starting fires is to have good tinder. And this is something that a lot of people know about, but you may not. And this is just dryer lint. It's, of course, a renewable source. With dryer, we keep dryer lint set aside, and in fact, it really starts to take over. Most of these are cotton fibers with your clothes, and so these really make an excellent fire tinder. And there's not really a lot you need to do to it. It'll just get started. Of course, dryer lint, again, it burns really quickly, but it still makes a great tinder. But you can see even this still burns enough to really be able to get something. And this is a small piece. One thing that I like to do is to stuff it into old toilet paper rolls, the ones that have already been used up, and just roll it in, and it gives you another element with the cardboard, and they're easily stored. Now, I've even heard of some people mixing in some Vaseline and things with the dryer lint, which would definitely prolong and make the fire hotter and even burn in just adverse conditions. But, you know, I keep dryer lint sealed away in plastic bags, and that way it doesn't get wet, and then when I need it, you know, dryer lint is a good fire tinder. Of course, just recently I did a review on cotton balls with Vaseline. And this is an exceptional fire tinder. In fact, I highly recommend it. Just easy to do. Cotton, 100% cotton balls, Vaseline. Most of you have that already at home. So it makes it really easy and quick to have a great fire starter. And of course, I had a video on this. I'll have it annotated right here for you to click on it if you want to look how to make these. Just exceptional. Now, one thing that's kind of an unusual item is a 9-volt battery and steel wool. And being able to connect the steel wool and the battery together, you're going to cause an instant fire. And this is something else that a lot of people keep around the house. We keep a big box of these 9-volt batteries around for our fire detectors. And then, of course, steel wool. I always have steel wool out in my shop. So this is something that's excellent to be able to get a good fire started. Taking this fine steel wool, the finer the better. Kind of separate it out a little bit. Here we go. Pick your battery. The steel wool is trying to take the charge of the battery, and it just can't hold it. And so obviously it just burns up. That's pretty cool. Now this is something that's just kind of unique, and this is the fire puck. I did a review on this. Of course, I'll have it annotated on this video, the whole review. But one of the things, this is a matchless fire starter, and it really gets a fire going. It's really simple to use, and it just really burns very hot and for a good period of time. Now the fire puck, I've done a review on this before, and this is a really unique product. Something that would be very specialized though. But you don't need matches. Throwing this maybe in your pack. Now here you have your striker. And so you remove the top, and then you have a part here. So just rub these two together, and there you go. You've got instant fire. And this thing burns for a long time. Really hot fire. I'm going to have a link to the review that I did on this, just so you can get all the specs. But this is just kind of a cool alternative to really get a fire started in about any condition. Fire pistons are an ancient way to start fire, and it's just a way that you can start a fire very primitively with very little material. The one thing you do need, at least what I really like to use for these, is char cloth. And I do have a full video on how to do the fire piston and a lot about it, and I'm going to have it annotated right here. The char cloth itself, to me, is the secret, or tinder fungus. Now, if you're going to use char cloth, in fact, I'm going to do a video separately from this one on how to make char cloth and how to use it. And I'll even demonstrate again some of the fire piston. But this is a Numith fire piston, and I get these from Going Gear. This is just a great alternative way. And a lot of people, would call this a novelty. They say, well, this is just some kind of bushcraft novelty. You can use wood, you can use plastic. This is an aluminum fire piston. One of the things I really like about the fire piston is that you can run out of fuel, you can run out of a lot of different things. But if you have a good fire piston and you can make char cloth, you have a way to continually make fire over a long period of time. And that is a really important way to at least know, and these things aren't that expensive, so they're great to have back, and the knowledge itself is just fascinating. Now, lighters obviously have been the standby to make fire other than matches for a number of years. And having a nice Bic Lighter, it's just they're very reliable and easy to use. They're pretty cheap. In fact, a lot of times when I run up to the store with Walmart or the grocery or whatever, I pick up a pack of these and just put them back because they are so convenient. But there are also other type lighters, and you have one of these blast lighters. You can see it right here, and this uses butane fuel. So you take your butane and then you refill it right here, pushing it in, and it fills up this little cylinder. And this gives you a really hot, excellent flame under pressure. And it does give it a very nice torch flame. There are a lot of different type hand torches out there on the market that are pretty good, and they really get a flame started. But then you have something like this little Numith or any of your Zippo lighters, which you take your regular lighter fluid, fill up your cylinder, and then you have a way to have a fire. And this is a really easy, great method, and it's waterproof because you can cover this up, you can seal it up, and the seals keep it waterproof, and then it's also just a small little container. But again, any of your Zippo lighters work the same way. Just a great option. But these are your three basic lighter types. Now, this is a survival match, and this is a really unique item in itself. You have a flint, and you have wick. You also have a striker on the body of the match itself. Now, how this works is you take standard lighter fluid, and you pour it into the end of your match. Then go ahead and replace the wick back into the container. Now, you'll want to let that wick get that lighter fluid and soak it up. Then take your match and strike it like a match. And then you have a nice match that has a steel body, so you don't have to worry about it burning down onto your finger, and you can really light your fire this way. So this is an excellent little way to carry fire, just kind of a different method. With cotton and Vaseline, it's really important to get the fibers that are dry on the inside of the cotton. Take your little match, your survival match, light it up. There you go. Of course, here we have just a little bit of a striker, and this just creates a spark. And one of the things, though, that you can also use for this is a regular lighter. Even though it's out of lighter fluid, it still creates a spark, and you're able to get down to the flint. So if you can create a spark, that can really get you going. With a little flint like this, you really need some good tinder, because all you're getting is a spark. We're going to take this Vaseline and cotton ball. There you go. That spark is what you need. Now, I've noticed that a number of comments that have been placed in these different fire videos have talked about fatwood, tinder fungus, and char cloth. And those are bushcraft type fire starting tinders. And we're definitely going to be taking a look at that. In fact, I'm working on a couple of videos with the char cloth, how to make it, and also with fatwood, how to find it, but also how to make it very easily. And so we're going to take a look at those coming up next. Again, by increasing your knowledge about fire and how things work and how different lighters or different things that are out on the market, it really expands the way you can create fire. Because guys, fire is one of the #1 survival tools. Ask any caveman. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Now, you can stick it down and you remove it. Now, you don't want to have lighter fluid all over this container, because it can catch the whole thing on fire. Like that. You also have a striker on the bottom. Has a small little striker with a wick, and you have okay. Now, it's got Zippo on here, but I don't know that it is Zippo. Okay. Now, this is just a great shoot. And you know, you can have your standard Bic lighter that's already fueled up. Oops.